Hey Nippers, it's me, Wild Neptune, and we waited a long time, but they are finally here. The second set of 3-star heroes that we were promised for episode 3. Before that though, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check me at twitch.tv/Wild Neptune. We have 5 heroes, so we gotta go fast. Here we go. Right here, you see there were 5 waifus: Helen, Christy, Camellia, Melanie, and Penelope. Each of them will have a different kit, obviously, one of each different element, and here we go. First up is Camellia. She's a light warrior. She has a speed release with a crit chance imprint. She has okay speed. Health is Pepega. Defense could, it's okay for a 3-star hero. Her attack is kind of lackluster. She does have good crit chance though overall, and some effectiveness at 18%. We'll see if she needs that. And here are her skills. So start off with the S1. It is a 35% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns. I believe it goes up to 50% with skill ups. I don't have that in front of me right now. But when the character has increased attack, it triggers a dual attack from the ally with the highest attack. Now, remember that because her S2 grants the caster skill nullifier once and increases attack for 2 turns. So there's the increased attack. Before increasing the attack of an ally, except for the caster with the highest attack, for 2 turns also. That means that if she does S1, she will not only dual attack, but the dual attack with the highest attack, who also should have attack buff, which is pretty interesting. Oh, also, on top of that, this also increases her CR by 50%, which is pretty nice. And keep in mind that her base speed was 110, so for a warrior, she is actually not the slowest unit in the world. Her S3, Swift Execution, attacks the enemy, and when the enemy is defeated, recovers to the caster to max HP, which, again, is Pepega. But when the skill is available, decreases damage suffered by 30%, so she has a built-in survivability mechanic to help you counteract the lack of defensive stats. Like anything like this, when more than 1 damage reduction effect is granted, only the strongest is applied. And honestly, I don't think anything is going to beat 30%, so it is going to be this. So she does have some decent survivability overall, despite the fact that her low bases of a 3-star. I feel like more it's going to be simply her base stats, though, for attacking, that's going to hold her back a little bit. Yes, if she kills somebody with the S3, but let's be real here. Is she going to actually kill anybody with the S3? We'll have to see what her multipliers are. Again, 3 stars that are not SCs, with that specialty change, rarely see use. Now, she is a speed imprint, which does give her a little bit of breathing room, and maybe she can do something because of that. But we'll see. Next one is Christy. She is a Earth Knight with an ER self-imprint. Her defense is super high. Her health is not bad. She has no attack, almost 666. I actually wonder if they purposely made this 667, right? She has basically negative speed. 90 speed is very slow. In my opinion, she has a pretty cute outfit though going on there. But let's look at her skills. So S1, it's a provoke chance, which does damage to proportional to her max health. Her S2 is the interesting one. So she has a built-in chance to counterattack when attacked, so 10% here. And when the battle starts, increases ER of the ally in the back row by 50% of the caster's ER. The rate of this effect does not change after it is activated, and this effect is dispelled only when the ally in the back row is defeated. When the caster is in the back row, the effect is not activated. So, remember, this ER imprint here for self ER. Well, if you build her pretty bulky with ER, like say 150 ER, well, the ally in the back is getting 75% ER. 100, 200 ER, well, you're getting 100% ER for the unit in the back row. This means she can be a decent tech option in things like Guild Wars or in normal arena when you want to really stack ER on one target to make sure they never ever get debuffed. In RTA or World Arena, this is harder to do because honestly, they could just ban Christy, or better yet, they can ban the target that you want her to give the ER boost to. But I don't know, maybe there becomes a world where there are two units that are ER units that you might want to run on a team, and then maybe in that case, Christy actually gets banned sometimes. Now, that world is probably not today, but it is something to consider. Her S3, it's an AoE attack buff. Also increases her defense and recovers health. Keep in mind that she is really slow though, so she really does kind of feel like ER MLKen, ER SSB. It's like somebody runs that, right? Support. So support for very slow tanky units that just don't want it to be debuffed, right? That's what her use seems to be like. And increased attack for both of those units are really good. Now, I think her potential is pretty high for a 3-star, simply because she does something immediately at the start of the battle that the enemy cannot stop, right? You will always, at the very least, get the bonus ER. So, I have pretty high hopes that this one will be usable in some sense. Next up, we have Helen. She is another Knight Warder. Her health is a little bit high. Her defense is also decent. She is a little bit faster. Still kind of negative speed. Her self-imprint and everything isn't as good. 72 defense. Although I guess in this case, actually, you know, her base defense is still pretty high. So this is what, like 10% of this. So, you know. Anyway, her skill set. Her S1 is a random CR increase of a random ally except for herself, and it does damage based on her defense. The Soul Burn means you get a CR boost for all allies for 10% there. Her S2 is attack the enemies before the enemy, so single target, before increases defense to cast over 2 turns and recovers HP. They'll be get her damage scales off of defense. Amount recovered is proportional to the caster's max health. So she wants health and defense, and remember that her health and defense were relatively high for a 3-star. So, also, her S3, Sword of Grace, adopts a counter-attacking stance for 3 turns, and grants increased speed and a barrier to all allies, except for the caster for 2 turns. So she does have some utility in speed up and the barrier. The barrier is proportional to her defense, and after suffering an attack that targets all allies, so an AoE, decreases skill cooldown by 2 turns. Now, you don't see it here, but the skill cooldown is very long, and this MO crowd-like effect here will help you get to use it a little bit more often. I think she's okay. It's a spoiler. I think out of the 5, she is the worst one, unfortunately. If you, somebody has to be the worst one, right? Even with the S3, with the bonus speed, I think she's a little bit too selfish overall. Maybe she just does a ton of damage with her counterattack and her skills, right? Maybe the multipliers on these are really high to make it worth using, but she kind of seems like a worse Charles, almost. I don't know. It's like the counterattack and everything like that. It's hard to see her having a strong place without something maybe like a dispel or a defense break somewhere in her kit, right? Melanie with the fang tooth there and this star. I don't know what other character has something like this, but she's a fire warrior. Her speed is okay for a warrior. She has decent attack for a 3-star. Her health and defense are somewhat average overall. She has an 18% effectiveness in concentration and attack release. So her S1 is a stun, and the soul burn increases the effect chance by 60%. I believe this goes to 100% after the skill ups, and soul burn means it always crits. Her S2 is a passive, and when it's attacked, she has a 25% chance to decrease damage suffered by 50%. And obviously, like anything like this, when more than one damage reduction effect is granted, only the strongest is applied. At the end of return, increases common advantage to caster by 10%. So, what's this end of the turn? I don't actually know if they mean just her turn or any turn. If it's any turn, that's pretty good. If it's only her turn, which it seems like it reads that, then it's okay. Then the S3, I'll blow you up, is an AoE. It decreases speed and inflicts stigma for 2 turns. A successful attack always results in a critical hit. Stigma is a debuff. It's a new debuff. What it does is it decreases the amount healing a target receives by 50%, and the amount of CR boost by CR boosting move also by 50%. So a pretty nice tech option overall. Her kit is pretty powerful, honestly, and if this was on a 5-star hero, I feel like the hero would see some sort of tech use, right? But because it's on a 3-star and its face stats are just so abysmal, it's kind of hard to see her being used seriously. But, maybe it's SC down the road, something like that. But still, does have decent tech option possibility. The last one, and I feel like this is going to be most people's favorite unit just because of, the personality. But Penelope, crit chance imprint, which is very strong for any hero, but decent speed at 108 for a 3-star. Thief, she has very high attack, okay health, basically no defense at all. Crit chance 23%, and her skill set, S1, attacks the enemy before increases attack by caster by 15%. So this is not a buff. This is a straight up like stacking buff that she gets. Also, when an enemy is defeated, so at any time when an enemy dies, increases CR of the caster by 75%. And the attack buff can happen 3 times for a max of 45%. Soul Burn just increases damage dealt. Her S2 is decreases the debuff duration of all allies by 1 turn before granting a barrier to the caster for 3 turns. Also gives her an extra turn, and barrier strength increases proportion to the caster's attack. So she can cleanse a little bit, and then, she gets another turn. Finally, her S3 inflicts resource depletion on the target by 100%, which means this is removing focus, fighting spirit, stuff like that. So with things against Landy, SSB, this basically resets their gauge back to 0. And before inflicting a chance to decrease attack for each... Wait. Before attacking them with a 75. Oh, essentially his attack and stun. So it's a single target with increased attack and a stun with separate chances to proc. And also, she gets stealth for 2 turns, which is also very good. Again, because she's a 3-star, and her base stats are pretty, her even with the stealth, her defenses are just so low that with the barrier, I don't know. Well, I'll have to see how big the barrier is in practice. Like, maybe there's a chance she lives through an AoE, right? She's a 3-star, so she'll see experimentation. I am glad, though, that these 5 3-stars do have what seems to be relatively powerful kits overall. Because if these kits are on, I think we're on a 5-star hero, I think most of these would see some sort of use. But that is just my take on them. Again, you will have to pull them. So Penelope is dark, and the light one is Camellia. The other 3 will be in the Covenants or the Element Summons too. And obviously Light and Dark and Moonlights. Anyway, good luck to you if you want to get these new 3-star waifus. I'm Wild Neptune. It's been a good one. Nep out.